Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 13 of Vandals. It's actually interesting as I was prepping for this Vanity, because oddly enough, you are not the first Cloud9 member to appear on the show. As I was prepping this image, I realized that it was many a moon ago, but Shinobi was actually the first one to appear on the show under the Cloud9 banner.
That's a throwback. That's been like 2 years, dude.
Yeah, it's been a little
I guess like
while.
a year and a half, roughly.
Yeah, and you're right. It has been a little while, but again, folks, Vanity, welcome. Thank you so much for joining the show. Man, how are you? How's life?
I don't know. It's life. It's good. It's bad. It's never too bad. It's never too good. You're just kind of there.
Up and
I mean,
downs.
yeah. I mean, I enjoy it. Nothing wrong with it.
I need to know, because look, social loves it. I need to know about your cats. Your cats make appearances on Twitter all the time. Can you tell me a bit about your cats? We need to know details at this point.
Bella, the black one, is the only one that is a real cat. I think the other two are like AI sent here. Not like, no joke, dude. Like, these cats don't even act like normal. Like, these are my first 3 cats, but dude, there's no way these other 2 are normal cats. And I think I'm not sure what I adopted, like maybe aliens or something.
Are they around?
No, no,
Oh
I
man.
can't. I don't let them out of the room because I unplug my monitors.
All
It's
right,
pretty cool.
let's get started. Let's talk roster change, man. You guys shocked the Valorant space right after your first match of this stage. The announcement, in case anyone has been living under a rock for the last 3 weeks, is that Xeta has moved over to T1. Curry has joined Cloud9. For people who may not know the whole story, or who kind of may have missed some of the details, what fully went down there?
I mean, I think it's pretty transparent. I think it's out there. I think we just felt that making a roster move would potentially make us better in the long run. Uh, I think we hit our ceiling, and that's really all it was. I mean, yeah, I guess it's weird timing, but like in the current like landscape of like Valorant ecosystem, there's not really like good timing to make roster changes
Yeah.
unless you wait until the complete season is over. But then it's like, well, you just made a roster change and you're not even playing officials for like 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's weird timing, but I think it'll pay off in the long run. I mean,
Sure.
I know we just lost, but it's just one match. It is what it is. Um, I think we look pretty good in practice.
And we will talk about that match a bit more later on. But you mentioned the timing. So was the switch as sudden as it looked like? It from what I understand, it was not necessarily that sudden. Had you been screaming with Curry for a bit?
Yeah,
What did the timing on that look like?
we got Curry Wednesday of the match, so 4 days prior to it going public, I
Oh
think.
wow.
And we scrimmed with him the days up to the match, and then we played the match with Zeta because the roster lock rule was kind of weird for week 1. I don't remember it exactly, but it was like most weeks are 24 hours, but for week 1 it was like 5 days or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we missed it by like the day after. We were like 1 day late, so I mean, it is what it is. But I don't know. It's something that was happened before the public knew for sure.
Yeah. Um, you mentioned that things looked like they had been going well in practice. I want to talk a bit more about the Curry change, and we're going to talk about role differences too. But namely, Curry, what
Oh
is it
shit.
that what happened?
No, we're
You
good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
good? What is it that you feel like Curry brings to this team? Why was he such a sought after addition for you?
Um, I'd say like the biggest thing is I think he has like a pretty like good mind for the game. Like, cause I've watched him like grow as a player throughout CS and now Valorant, and I think he's progressively gotten like better and better at like a rate that isn't really like consistent with a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people don't improve in the areas that he has improved on.
Hmm.
So I mean, I've always known he has like really good mechanics, and like after seeing him like continuously get better, I was like, I think this would be a good like chance to take. And I'm pretty happy with the results like so far based off of how practice is going, because I think that he's pretty good at absorbing information and like giving feedback and like bringing ideas.
Yeah.
So I think he helps a lot. He's really fun to play with. He's a good attitude. He tries to keep the energy up. So I think that's it's kind of similar to what Sunny did. But I think I definitely think the biggest thing though is like just the trajectory he was on as a player intrigued me,
Sure.
given how long I've like known him and been following his career.
Now, I know we've touched on Curry for a little bit, but the probably less discussed change that came with all of this was it wasn't just Curry, or excuse me, it wasn't just Xeta that left. It was Autumn that did as well, right? They both shipped
Mm.
off to T1. Does the well, let me just ask you this: how has that impacted the inner workings of this Cloud9 Valorant roster?
Mm. Not much, to be honest.
Hmm.
I mean, I think Autumn helped, but I think that James was always like the head coach, like from like working with both of them for close to a year. I would say that James was a lot better at like the tactical FPS side because he had played CS professionally or was really close and he coached Ghost and all that. And Autumn came from PUBG, so obviously there's gonna be like um like just like a lack of like general knowledge, right? Because he hasn't played FPS games. So I think that not necessarily that Autumn was like a bad coach by any means. Like I think Autumn was pretty good, but I think that James has pretty much always been our head coach, even if it wasn't like publicized.
Well, he was
Because
like
like
even like at champs, he was
I
the one
mean
that
at
was on
champs, like he was
stage.
the one
Yeah,
on stage, right?
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like I don't think people should be like I don't know. It's not as like big of a deal as people make it out to be. I don't think like the Autumn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would say that James did like a large majority of it. Autumn helped. Don't get me wrong, but I would say James definitely was like the bigger influence on our gameplay.
Sure. On top of this change of Curry being added to the roster, you have changed roles. The bigger focus is you are now on initiators, less so on controllers. What's that transition been like for you the last couple of weeks?
I don't know. It feels different, I guess. Obviously, because I've only played Smoke, so I'm not really sure like if I like it more. I think I like it more. I'm not sure if I'm better at it though. So something that I've considered like trying to switch back, but I don't know. It's something we've talked about.
Yeah.
I think it's a little easier to IGL on initiators,
Really?
but I think you have to be like uh super comfortable in the agents. Like on the maps that I play KO, I feel like it's pretty easy to IGL and fade, but on the other two, like Breach and Sova, like it feels a little more difficult, I guess. Not like hard, but it's not as like straightforward for
Would you?
some reason. I think it's probably just comfort on the agent. So like
Sure.
I'm more comfortable setting my like how to use my util, right, on these agents versus on a like Breach, for example. I don't think I'm bad at Breach, but I think it's like a learning curve agent, and I haven't had that much time on it.
I mean, the shoes that were left behind too for for the breach on Cloud9 were massive. I can see how that uh, takes a little bit of time to adjust to. I'm actually really interested to hear you say that in some ways it's easier to call from the initiator role.
I think it is.
I can
I
see.
think it was easier when Sova was the main agent because
Yeah,
you had a lot
yeah.
more control over like what was going on, given like your util. And now with the current meta, because I think Sova's kind of fading out on most maps. I think the only one that he's like still like 100% picked on is Breeze.
Mm.
And maybe I don't think no, because we don't play him on Icebox. So I'd say that's probably like the only map Sova's like 100% is still Breeze.
Yeah.
But I think that with his info kit, it's a lot easier to IGL versus the other ones. Like you can do it, but it's not as fluid, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I want to. We're gonna come back to IGL talk, and I want to ask you this, Vanity. You've for as long as you've been in Valorant, for as long as I've known you, you've been known as an innovator of sorts, right? I think about the early adaptation to Viper Astra and the combination that's there. I think about the post plant meta and what you guys did when you were on V1. Can you share a bit more about how you personally think about the game, how you approach the game, and then even within that, where does the innovation fit in that grand scheme of things?
Mm, I don't know. I think that uh I just like think about the I don't know. It's like I play the game a lot. I think about the game a lot, and I feel like a lot of people are like scared to like change comps and like try new agents and stuff. It's definitely less relevant now than it was then, but like especially back like when the Asterisk first came out, bro, like there was like 4 teams playing Astro only or something. We were one of the later ones to switch too. But after we switched, I remember teams went back to Omen, and it was really confusing. And then Viper on top of that, I think Viper was really strong, but I also think it just helped us having like a good Viper player. So like, I think if you didn't have a Viper player that was as like capable as Whippy was, it might have not been as consistently strong. But I think that he kind of liked to bait and sit in corners with like lineups aiming at the sky, so it worked pretty well.
It was a natural
Yeah.
fit for him.
Nah, but I mean, I think the biggest thing is like, it was the same way like in Counter Strike. Like I kind of just did things that I thought were good. I would follow metas like within reason, right? But like I'd always try to like push the limits of it. So I think it's kind of similar in this game, and I think it, I don't know, I like it a lot. It makes my brain feel happy having like stuff to like work on instead of like having like big picture things to work on versus like little minute details.
I want to go back to IGL conversations. I was actually having a talk with a friend earlier today who was saying he feels like there is a drought of IGLs in Europe in particular. As a good as would many people consider top 3, maybe top 2 caller in all of North America. Why do you think good IGLs are so hard to find?
I think I would say like the biggest reason is people just don't want to take blame. I mean, obviously this could be completely wrong, but I would definitely say it. I think that's like the biggest thing, especially in like, I can only speak for America because I'm from America, obviously. But like the individualism, is that the word? I don't remember the exact like.
Yeah.
But like I feel like Americans are pretty individualistic. Obviously you're talking about Europe having the issue too, but I would say that it's always been a bigger issue in NA FPS games, just because of like the culture and how like you can just get replaced, right? Like people tend to think that orgs like target the IGLs first when they make changes, which I feel like isn't really what happens as long as like you're like putting in effort. So I'm not sure. But I mean, I think it's just something you have to like want to do it. I think like when people get pushed into the role, it's kind of just not good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it can work, but it's not going to consistently work. And I feel like that's, like it's something you have to buy into completely to have success with, in my opinion. I mean, like I think like there's only 2 long-term, 3, I think Steal and FNS are the only like long-term IGLs. So I mean,
Yeah.
in North America, they did it in both games, I guess would be the proper way to say it. I don't think Def or Shazam ever IGL'd in CS. If they did, it was very short. And then apart from that, I don't think there's. The only other one was Daps, right? Daps and Nitro, but they both went back to CS. So it's like we're the only like 2 like or 3 like long-term IGLs, and I think it's just like it's definitely probably the most difficult role, but I feel like it's the most rewarding once you like. I don't know. It's both, I guess. It sucks and it's the most rewarding.
Yeah.
But because the game is like in your hands, but it's not in your hands because like your hands don't work as well. No, it's kind of weird.
Do you think that we have put too much glamour around like top fragging and jets and flashy plays? Is there too much attention on the star duelist, and do you think that's one of the things that detracts from wanting to be an IGL?
I mean, I think that ties back into the individualistic thing, right? Like, it's always going to be easier to get signed if you're like a star player because people will see the stats.
Yeah.
Is what people think, right? But I don't know, like the kind of like the way that I came up in Counter Strike, it's like I just made a team, we did really well. People saw that I was putting in like the most effort, and it's like you'll eventually get a chance as long as you're not like 100 ACS. Like you'll get if you are having good results consistently as an unpaid player, as an IGL, like across the board, you will eventually get a chance. But people think it only like tends to apply to like star players, and I think it's pretty dumb. Like I see people tweet about, oh, I don't have connections. It's like, bro, like you don't need connections. Just find people, be good. You'll eventually get something. Just stop complaining. Everybody goes through it, dude. I see so many people like, ah, you guys don't understand. It's like, bro, no, you are not a pro when you start, man. Everybody fucking gets it.
Literally, everyone went through what you're going through. Yeah.
You guys don't get it. It's like, bro, it was probably worse when I went through it.
Say you were to try to convince the future generation of Valorant stars. You've got 13 and 14-year-old Timmy and you know what have you is watching VCT and going, I want to be, I might want to be the next Vanity or the next Finesse or you know what have you. What do you tell them to convince them to go down the route of becoming an IGL? What's your selling point?
I don't know, man. I think it's, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's the most rewarding role, but I mean, I think that's like personal, right? Like some people will feel the most rewarded winning. Some people will feel the most rewarded having good stats, even if they lose. And I think that that's another thing that ties back into like the individualistic thing, right? Like the amount of times I've seen like people lose to like pro teams and tweet the scoreboards, bro. That's like the way to like never get signed.
Yep.
I'll tell you that. Like if you get like 13-5 and you have 280 ACS, if you see that on Twitter, dude, you're never seeing a pro trial in your life. It's like,
You're not wrong,
man, nobody cares how good you play, man. Just you have to win. You have to like actually like be able to beat these teams. Like take maps. Like yeah, you don't have to consistently beat them, but like show that you like have what it takes. Because having good stats isn't hard, bro. You can play for stats.
Let's go back to Cloud9. From the beginning of 2012 up until today, you have a total of 4 series losses. 2 of those are to Optic, best team in the world. One of them was to the Guard when they were like in full demon mode, right? Also an understandable loss. They were good matches, what have you. And then this weekend happened. What happened in the loss against FaZe?
I don't know. I mean, they just came out pretty bad. They're a team that relies, or like they're pretty good when they're like hitting shots, and they were all hitting shots. So like us not being on top of it mechanically, the heck, it I don't know, punched us in the face, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Sucks. Lost before though. Lose again. Hopefully not again in VCT because that would probably end our season. But I think if I don't even remember who we play next, LG and Sentinels, right?
Yeah, LG and then Sentinels in that order.
Should be exciting.
Were you? So they had run Neon on Fracture, so that wasn't necessarily surprising. Were you expecting the Neon on Haven too?
I think they changed players, right? So I don't think we really knew exactly what they were gonna play on any map. I think on Fracture we were like pretty confident they played Neon because I think they played it in the match with Laya.
Yeah, the previous week. Yeah.
But apart from that, it's like we haven't seen them play anything, so it's like we don't really know what they're gonna play. So I mean, it didn't really cut us off. But I think it's that agent's pretty annoying sometimes. I think like when your aim is more on, it's easier to kill Neons because like the way that they go in sometimes can be kind of like troll. But I mean, this guy was just spinning around like 360 and getting kills. So
jumping out of heaven.
It is what it is.
There's I think it was a pistol. Baby Bay just like jumps out of window on a heaven, slides like or drifts around the corner of boxes and gets the kill. Whoever it was, he was just full sending.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. I'm not sure what to do.
All right, let's go back to your groups. 1 and 2 in groups, as you said. You've got LG up next, and I don't want to think about Sentinels quite yet because this LG team is solid, right? Like they look very good. Can you share a bit about what prep will look like leading into this match this weekend?
What is this guy doing? My cat just walked in my room. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a normal prep. Like, I think like changing prep game to game is pretty bad because it doesn't allow people to like be able to consistently know what they're gonna be able to like work with, right? So I think just keep doing what we've been doing, and obviously, but
that'll help you.
I think just go into the game, play our game. So I think in the FaZe game we were letting them do what they wanted too much, which happens. You can't always play on top of on the best of your game. Yeah. But I think like elevating our base is something that's pretty important, and it's probably going to be like the biggest thing we try to focus on in practice.
Last question that I have for you, and I will let you go. The Cloud9 fan base is large, right? They're probably one of the biggest in esports. Is there anything you have that you'd like to say to your fans leading up to the match this weekend?
I mean, thanks for all the support, guys. Jack will give us Kiters eventually. But not seriously, thank you guys. It's pretty surreal playing for Cloud9. I mean, came from like Chaos and United and Singularity. They have like, I don't know, maybe like 100K Twitter followers combined. I think C9's like 1.3 million or something. But I mean, I don't know. The fans are great. Like, I feel like I very rarely have like negative interactions. That's just Valorant though. Like, I feel like a lot of the people I've interacted with in Valorant tend to be pretty welcoming, which is nice.
I had Sean on the show last week, and we talked a bit about Cloud9's tanks from whatever year that was.
Like 2015.
Yeah, something like that. Is there any chance that you can get Jack to bring those back? Please.
Maybe.
I
don't know, man. No promises.
Well, I'll let you go. Vanity, thank you so much for joining. Folks, for those of you who are watching, thank you so much for your support. I ask that you please engage with the channel, like, comment, subscribe, do all of those things so that I can feed my puppy this week. But that is going to do it for episode 13 of Vandals. Until next time.